So I was not going to talk the Dallas Cowboys this week. I was going to talk about nothing more than anything else in the NFL because there's nothing left to say at this point about the Dallas Cowboys. They've been underachieving for years. I've been trying to warn their fan base just how fraudulent their team is. I was called a hater. I was ostracized while you guys were rah-rahing about beating Daniel Jones in a tsunami and Zach Wilson after coming off one of the most emotional games on Monday Night Football in which they lost their Hall of Fame quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, and Zach Wilson sucks. You guys were rah-rahing. You guys had won the Super Bowl. You guys were on top of the world. People came in my mentions and were so upset with me that I had the audacity to say, yeah, the Philadelphia Eagles are the best team in the NFC East. It's not hate. It's just truth. In my opinion, they have the better roster still. The pass rush is still there. Their coach, still better than Mike McCarthy. The quarterback and Dak Prescott and Jalen Hurts, the Grand Canyon in gap of skill. So yeah, I said the Eagles were better. And my mentions have been blowing up ever since I dropped a few Dallas Cowboys subject videos. I wasn't coming at the Cowboys. I wasn't telling them they sucked. I even admitted they're a good football team. Not good enough to win the Super Bowl, and I was ostracized. I was told I didn't know anything I was talking about. People were telling me, you know what? Maybe not everyone should have a podcast. I was every name in the book that you could be called. Dallas Cowboy fans were in my mentions all weekend for the past few weeks on end. Dallas Cowboys commenting, messaging me, telling me I have no idea what I'm talking about. Although I've been preaching this, hitting the table for weeks now about how fraudulent the Dallas Cowboys have been. I've been doing this for years because they don't have a quarterback that can carry them when they need to be carried. Their defense is mostly overstated. It just is. I'm sorry to admit it to you, but it just is. I'm sorry to break it to you. I'm not impressed by beating Zach Wilson and Daniel Jones. And I wouldn't have been impressed if you beat Josh Dobbs. But man, I guess the Wi-Fi must be out in Dallas. I guess it just collectively, whatever they have, CenturyLink over there, whatever brand internet that Dallas carries, I guess the internet in Dallas just went out for the weekend. And it's still out at the time that I'm recording this video, this podcast. Because I have heard crickets from the loyal Dallas Cowboys fan base that has been in my mentions for weeks on end, telling me that there is no idea. I have no idea what I'm talking about. That Dak Prescott's awesome. Mike McCarthy's awesome. It's so great here. We're beating up on bad teams. We haven't been battle tested yet. And you know what? My mistake. I said your first real test is going to come in the link, and I believe week 8, week 9 against the Philadelphia Eagles, but I was wrong. Turns out it was my Arizona Cardinals coming in to State Farm Stadium, playing against my Cardinals, Josh Dobbs, Jonathan Gannon, right? You can't coach. Pew, 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 Jonathan Gannon. Not good at the mic. Not good at the podium. Social media clips, Jonathan Gannon can't coach. Team's not good. And I told Cowboy fans, hey, just so you know, this Cardinal team, they're better than you think. But you marched in to State Farm Stadium, heads held high, arrested some offensive linemen because you thought you were better than you were. And you didn't want to listen to old friend Ben over your old best friend Benjamin coming in on the show saying, hey, the Dallas Cowboys, they're not as good as you think. No, you just want to hear what you want to be told. And now I'm going to rip your team a new one. Because my Arizona Cardinals, the tanking Arizona Cardinals, put a beat down on the Dallas Cowboys. And you know what? I usually don't take victory laps. I usually don't do the fanboy thing. But I'm going to rub some salt in the wound for Dallas Cowboy fans. I suggested a few weeks ago, hey, Mike McCarthy, not great in time management, not a good play caller. I liked Kellen Moore more than everyone else. And then Cowboy fans, you don't know, you didn't watch the games. You didn't watch the games. Kellen Moore was losing us games. It wasn't Dak Prescott. It wasn't Mike McCarthy. It was Kellen Moore, so we ran him out of town. Meanwhile, the Chargers offense looks really good. Really, really good. And what did Mike McCarthy do? Went 1 and 5 in the red zone with things like going for it on 4th down when you could have just kicked the field goal, bring it down to a little bit more of a possession there. Then you have Mike McCarthy running the ball with 5 minutes left to go on the clock, down 12 points. That tells you what the Dallas Cowboys think of their quarterback. They think of their quarterback as, you know what? We got to lean on our run game here because our quarterback's just not that good. He's not able to carry us when we need to be carried. Begging for flags, the audacity for a team that had like 13 accepted penalties. That doesn't even count for the penalties that they didn't accept. The Dallas Cowboys are so fraudulent. This defense that I've been told that is so raucous, absolutely abysmal on Sunday. The defensive line, Micah Parsons, right? Micah Parsons, DeMarcus Lawrence. Oh, these guys are going to eat, right? Paris Johnson ate those dudes alive. The offensive line completely dominated aside from a couple of sacks that you just have to let go of because that Dallas Cowboys front is so talented, right? Absolutely dominated at the point of attack. CeeDee Lamb begging for flags, begging and not even going for the ball. That should infuriate every Cowboy fan. The audacity of CeeDee Lamb, a guy who is not a top 5 receiver, begging for a flag, getting absolutely locked up all game by a 6th-round rookie in Keytrell Clark. A rookie locking up your star wide receiver, pouting because he's not getting the ball, pouting because he's not getting flags. The Dallas Cowboys absolutely embarrassed themselves on Sunday. And all the Dallas Cowboy fans out there calling me every which name in the book, you should be embarrassed too, because your team is not that good. And you know what? Maybe that makes me an enemy of Cowboys fans. I tried to be a Dallas Cowboy truther. I don't hate your team. I don't have enough time in my day to hate your team. I was beating this drum for over a year now. Hey, Dak Prescott, he's not an 8 to 10 quarterback in this league. He's probably 12, 13, because one of the biggest things I look of in my quarterbacks is how do they do under duress? How do they do in high pressure situations? How do they do in high leverage situations? What do they do when the defense knows you have to pass? Dak Prescott throwing the interception to Kaiser White, triple covered, was so ironically Dak Prescott. It hurts. Now the Dallas Cowboys are what they are, and we all saw it. A fraudulent team. The offensive line thinking you can just rest players? This is an NFL team. The Cardinals, you must have not read the scouting report, are pretty damn good. They took the Washington Commanders down to the wire. They should have won that game. A week ago when they played the Giants up 20-0 at the half, they should have won that game. And what they do to the Dallas Cowboys, they closed it out. It's embarrassing. It is just flat out embarrassing for Cowboy fans. And like I said before, I guess the Wi-Fi just went out in Dallas, right? Because all the Cowboys fans in my mentions completely vanished. Completely gone from existence. Didn't hear from any of them. Didn't hear about the rah-rah, we them boys. No. You lost to my Arizona Cardinals, a tanking Arizona Cardinals team. You were dominated on all fronts, and that's exactly what the Dallas Cowboys are and their fan base right now. We're better than we think we are. We're a team that we don't need to play all of our players, and I don't want to hear anything about you not having 3 offensive linemen. This defensive front, you lost to without their best player in Budda Baker. They didn't have Kyler Murray either. They didn't have their best quarterback. Arguably the most important position on offense. And then maybe the second, third most important piece on your defense, ahead of the secondary, and Budda Baker wasn't there. Dak Prescott, in pressure, couldn't make it happen. DeMarcus Lawrence, Micah Parsons, for the most part, aside from a sack or two, absolutely invisible. The Arizona Cardinals beat the Dallas Cowboys on one thing only: effort, not talent. Dallas Cowboys are way more talented. You list the 10 best players in this game between the Dallas Cowboys and the Arizona Cardinals. There's not a single Cardinal on that list. Dak Prescott was outplayed by Josh Dobbs. Let that sink in. Outplayed by Josh Dobbs, a guy who was probably going to get cut in Cleveland until the Cardinals handed them a 5th-round pick. The Dallas Cowboys should be embarrassed. Until the Dallas Cowboys can prove it to us, like I said in the playoffs, they're a fraudulent team. And that's all there is to it. So stop telling yourself the lie every single year. We them boys, we're winning the Super Bowl, right? No. And you know what? I can't lie. I relished in it a little bit. It was fun to watch. It was fun, although it took a little bit out of the tanking sales for the Arizona Cardinals getting a better draft pick. It was worth it. Because the Dallas Cowboys fan base needed to be humbled. The Dallas Cowboys needed to be humbled. And next time you walk into a game after beating 2 subpar quarterbacks, and I'm putting it nicely, have a little bit more of a grip. Maybe play your best players. Maybe don't rest players because you think you can just steamroll through this. The Dallas Cowboys should be embarrassed. The Dallas Cowboys fan base should be embarrassed. Maybe that can change. Maybe the Cowboys can figure it out in the rest of the season. But over the past 2 decades, they haven't been a Super Bowl contender. The Dallas Cowboys still are not Super Bowl contenders. And Dallas Cowboy fans, if you want, I know you were in my mentions, commenting, liking, saying whatever you wanted to say against me. My DMs are open to an apology. My Arizona Cardinals are open to an apology. Not big into the fanboy stuff. Didn't want to wear a jersey, but it just felt right. And I'm here to tell you the truth. I'm done beating up on you Dallas Cowboy fans. I'll never lie to you or say something just to get clicks. Everything I say, I wholeheartedly believe. Otherwise, I wouldn't put it on social media. I wouldn't put it in a podcast format. But call it what it is. I'm a Dallas Cowboys truther, not a hater. I don't care enough about your team to actively root against them. The Dallas Cowboys needed to get it together. And go Cardinals.